Jacked up.
The game's to be sold, not told. So we finna keep everybody broke. They say time is money. They say money talk. I ain't got no time to waste it. You ain't got no time. Out and about, out chasing paper. The streets of my house and the house always wins like Vegas. Never down for the count. Second win, second nature. Found mine. Never had my hands out. Fuck favors. By design, everything tailored. In my youth, it was shell toes, no Chuck Taylors. We choke game, how to have a game, so it's still the same code game, so it's still the same code. We all pay the cost, I mean pay dues. Move with the money state that I can't lose. On the grind, push a hard line with my linemen. Back when I was young, they said it's all about timing. Feel it's my time, all the stars are aligning. I'm a diamond in the rough, couple cuts got me shining. This game you cannot cop on consignment. In the field, all we do is execute assignments. The game's to be sold, not told. So we finna keep everybody broke. They say time is money, they say money talk. I ain't got no time to waste, you ain't got no time to talk. The game's to be sold, not told. So we finna keep everybody broke. They say time is money, they say money talk. I ain't got no time to waste, you ain't got no time to talk.
First, we get into this paper. See, I want it all, plus some UNDERDOG acres, a lot of alcohol, few dad bags of paper. Run this shit like a ship and I'm the sailor. Cold, kinda like it's fresh up out the freezer. Cold, if she ain't talking bread, I don't need her. Soon as I meet her, I'm a fucker, then I leave her. It's the old Mac needs, treat them all like bottom feeders. Break it down slow for them folks that don't know. I'm a seasoned vet, black belt out the dojo. With a wide range of weapons, so I'm out the holster. Keeping all options open, so many ways that I can fold ya. Told you from the gate, never been about no play. Get it on the go, they never been known for no delay. The game should be sold, not to be told. Keep your mouth shut, don't have to break the mold. Mac needs.
Break the work down, it's fence to move. Push that work out, I distribute. Break the work down, it's fence to move. Push that work out, I just distribute. A young pack mover, shout to my consumer. Jumping out the foreign or I'm hopping out the Uber. Crew clocking chips opposite of you losers. Can't be broke as a joker, got no sense of humor. Just a young pack mover, shout to my consumer. Jumping out the foreign or I'm hopping out the Uber. Crew clocking chips opposite of you losers. Can't be broke as a joker, got no sense of humor.
I'm a D-boy, need abusive as users. I'm a D-boy, need abusive as users. I'm a D-boy, need abusive as users. You know I'm the boy, get money's what I'm used to.
Keep it straight from the gate, so I don't confuse ya. I'm a D-boy, need abusive as users. I'ma make noise, shout to my producer. I'm an entertainer, but I ain't here to amuse ya. Yeah, I fuck with shooters and they all fucking users. Come through, wake that ass up like a rooster, hella early in the morning. Early bird gets a worm. Finna get rich for 'em, food for the worms. Cutting cocaine, dumping whole things. It's a cold game, make you run your gold chain. Hungry, but I'm moving in a keto state. For sure, I beat the price on the keys in your state. Catch me running up a tail, fucking up a bag. Make me wonder how long will a good thing last. On my Curtis Mayfield, live a life I can't chill. Push a man, pushing packs, all I do is make squeal. Keep it 100, I'm just numb, yo, I can't feel none of these suckers when they say they real. Stacking Uber cash, I'm an out-of-state supply. Random Uber man, he'll get away drive. Just a young pack mover, shout to my consumer. Jumping out the foreign or I'm hopping out the Uber. Crew clocking chips opposite of you losers. Can't be broke as a joker, got no sense of humor. Just a young pack mover, shout to my consumer. Jumping out the...
And we are back. It's Tuesday night.
Who
It is Dynasty night. Hammer in the building. We've got
who the hell
Bagala in
is
the
that?
building
Who the hell is
as
that?
well.
I don't recognize that face. I certainly recognize that stupid ass look, but I don't know. That face is foreign to me. Holy shit.
Part of the original crew. The tripod is back. Bagala's in the building. What up, Bagala? What up, Hammer?
Hell done froze over.
Peacock in the building. Happy Halloween. That's right. Trick or treaters just left the hood. Vike Queen in the building. What's good? My fellow Vikings fans, Vike Queen, Marty.
Oh, please. Here we go.
What a week, 3 day. Yeah, man. This has been a rough week for us Vikings fans. But I guess before we get into just talking about replacing Kirk and Dynasty, I guess let's just talk about the Vikings in general and Kirk Cousins, obviously a huge blow as we're starting to get some momentum. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Super interesting. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been one of the more durable quarterbacks. Over the course of his career, he really never had a major injury that's kept him out. So it's very unfortunate to see this. It is an Achilles, which means he'll obviously be out the rest of the season unless he gets Aaron Rodgers to sprinkle some ayahuasca on his Achilles. But most likely he is, we probably won't see him till mid next season somewhere anyway. And the fact that it's a contract year makes it even all the more interesting to see where Kirk Cousins ends up. But yeah, definitely wishing for a speedy recovery because he definitely was a really good quarterback fantasy wise anyway. And he kind of got the Vikings back to 500. So he's definitely going to be missed in the fantasy community because he was a guy that you could pretty much rely on as a QB1 on a week in, week out basis.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Can't hear you, Bagala. Hold on.
The age, he's getting old. He's getting up there. You had me muted, Steve. That's what happened.
I got you. Oh yeah, because
yeah. So don't blame me. But yeah, age.
Starting his shit already.
Yeah, he's getting up there. He's getting older. It's horrible to see. But you didn't know if he was going to come back next year anyway, right? Contract year. You didn't know the way the season was looking. Were they going to get a quarterback? I think they were going to draft a quarterback regardless. Does he want to come back now at that age? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? They were probably going to try and move on anyway. They haven't won anything with him, fantasy wise. He's a good quarterback. Football wise, he hasn't really done anything since he's been there. So it might have been time to move off of him at this point, but it just sucks to see him get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loved him there. Kirk was a good guy, we joke around, primetime Kirk, playoff Kirk, whatever, 1 p.m. Kirk, but you hate to see it happen to him. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been a character. He's been a good one for the NFL. Hope to see him again. I don't think he wants to go anywhere else. I think he wants to stay in Minnesota. And if they're deciding to move on, will he be willing to go anywhere else? We might have seen the last of Kirk Cousins, and it sucks that it might be because of injury.
Well, the interesting part about that is, remember, when Minnesota was, I think, 0-3 or something like that, there was talks about him getting traded to maybe the Jets or Atlanta, and he basically stated that he wasn't waiving his no trade clause, like it wasn't happening. So just to further that point, he loves Minnesota, and I think he wants to be there, but this injury obviously complicates that.
Yeah, but before when he was signing in Minnesota, the Jets took a run at him. He was like, no, he was like, I don't want to go to the Jets. So it's always been Minnesota for him. And now Minnesota has to pivot. You had to get a quarterback before. You got to get one now. You know what I'm saying?
And we did. We wound up getting Dobbs. And, the thing with
I'm
Kirk,
talking about for the future and this draft. You have to come away with somebody younger.
The problem is that we're not going to have a high enough pick to get one of the top guys. Like we're not going to, we're not in that bottom conversation. So like with Kirk, the only good thing with Kirk The only really good thing for next year is that we might be able to re-sign him at a very low cost because of the injury. Instead of next year thinking, okay, do we got to pay Kirk 40 million or something like that? It could be a lot cheaper because of the injury. He is more of like a family type guy. Like, I don't think he wants to go through a whole process of moving his family to a whole nother place and playing in a whole
No,
nother place. I think he does, like you said, want to come back to Minnesota.
and he's made his
Oh,
money. He's made
yeah.
his money, and I think you would have got him at a discounted rate either way. But you have to start looking, for life after Kirk, and you
Of
might
course.
not get one of those top guys, but guys like Dak Prescott wasn't first round picks. Russell Wilson wasn't a first round pick. That's where your scouting department comes in. Your GM has to do their homework. You have to try and get a guy that can come in there and produce for you. You know what I'm saying? And at the very least, he's gonna have the first month of the season to show you if he can do something. And if he can't, then you got Kirk back in the fold for the rest of the year, and then you take a shot at it. But if you're bad next year after the first month of the season, 0-4, 0-5, do you even bring Kirk back? Do you even have him play? Because then you can go and get your quarterback in 2025. So there's a lot of questions for the Vikings right now, and it sucks. It sucks for JJ. It sucks for Addison. It sucks for those guys, and it sucks for Kirk and all of his owners in fantasy world.
We'll talk about how that affects them in a minute here. Marty said it's been a great week. It's been a great week for me too. I've fucking been killing in most of my fantasy leagues.
Yeah, you're in like 29.
It's what?
I said you're in like 29 leagues.
No, I'm not.
Would you go 29?
Not in that many. Song, what's up, Song? What's happening, Stevie Hammer? Carr, Geno, Mayfield, Sam Howell, or Minshew to replace Cousins? Are we talking about? I guess we're talking Dynasty already. Yeah, we're gonna get into that in a minute. And these are some of the names that we'll be throwing out there as some replacements of what you can be looking to try and do. I'm looking at Wolf. Yeah, it just depends on the cost, right? So with Dobbs signing, I think it's giving Kirk comes back to the Vikings. It could be if we can survive this year and going into next year. So the reason why I muted Bagala was because we had the intro playing and his shit wasn't on mute, so we could hear him. So I had to internally mute him. So it wasn't me, it was Bagala starting the shit already.
And easy, Marty, with that guest shit. All right, I'm not a guest. Okay, easy with that. Let's tone that down. Let's tone that down. I'm an original. All right.
When Dylan salutes everyone, injuries got me nervous. My first fantasy football experience. I guess I care more now. I typically worry about my team. Yeah, of course, right?
The one thing I love that fantasy football made it really broadened my knowledge of all teams, all different players, college. Like, fantasy football really made me pay attention to everything, because on a weekly basis I would just watch my team and then I wouldn't really care. You see the highlights, you see all that other stuff. But fantasy football and in particular Dynasty the last couple of years has just really expanded, everything you do. It makes it so much more fun, so much more interesting. So yeah, I'm in the same boat where it really and also too the competitive banter that we have going along. Kind of part of the reason why we created this show is because we love it so much, we enjoy it, and we want to share it with you guys. But yeah, I'm in that same boat where I used to only watch my team and really care about my team, and then fantasy football just changed my whole perspective.
Yeah, I guess that that's for most people. Other people are just diehard. Like, if there's football on the TV, I'm watching. I watch college every Saturday. I watch football every Sunday. Even if it wasn't the Giants, if there was a game on, I was watching, just because I grew up loving football. It was just something that me and my grandfather did and my father did, and so. Just on that side, I was always deep into college and you know what I'm saying, and NFL, and then when there was the XFL, the first XFL, and whenever if there's football on, I go to high school games on Friday nights here, so that should tell you everything you need to know.
But since you started playing fantasy, you care more about what happens outside of your team.
I could, you could say that, but I don't think so because even growing up, us, we always talk sports. You know what I'm saying? We always bullshitted with sports. It didn't only have to be our team, and I guess it worked out because we all love different teams. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't that we were only talking about New York teams or whatever. Steve's a Viking fan. You're a Packer fan. You know, JT's a Jet fan. Like, we had it all over. And then once you get all of those guys, you start talking about the teams in their division. So I feel like we were all in that mold of we were always bullshitting about football and everything and always worried about the outside. Now, fantasy just brought it to just a different level, you know? It's just now it's taken off. Steve turned into a schwam. Like it's out of control now. It's out of control.
And I always say this, I blame Bagala for turning Steve into the monster he has become because he created our home dynasty league. And it's funny because when Lou was thinking about it, he came to me, I think this was before the 2020 season. And he's like, bro, I'm thinking about starting a dynasty league, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, that'd be really dope. Because all we ever did was redraft before that. You know, it's just redraft every single year.
We had talked about it for a while, though. Dynasty or keepers, right?
Yeah, and when he came to me and he, you know, brought up the idea, we kind of went over, you know, the formatting and everything. And, you know, we were like, fuck it, yeah, let's just give it a run. And then 6-8 months later, you started to see the little seeds come from Steve where he started turning into the Schwam. And then everything progressed from there. And we are where we are today. And every time Bagala and I talk about Steve, it's like I blame Bagala for starting the first dynasty league and turning him into the monster he has become today.
Well, you know, I love it though. I love it. I love going back and forth
for sure.
Forth with him and things like that, and all in one show. These guys don't really care about defense. I would love to do a defensive stream.
Defense. All right, yes. Talk about
I would love that. You know, defense is my stuff. One of these days we can get into it. But I just stood back off, and Steve took it right in the veins, and he's addicted now. You know, it's like black tar heroin. Once it's in you, it's not going to get out. And then here comes Dynasty Life and the Dynasty Show, and we're rolling. How many years? You know. 2 years. It's been 2-3 years now.
This is our second year. I mean, we started pretty much early last season. But Terrell, happy Halloween. Wendell, don't think we met either, but welcome to the show. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, what's some good defensive streams real quick this week for all in one?
I like the Falcons this week. I like the Falcons this week. I forgot. I was just looking at who they're playing, but they got a plus matchup.
They're playing the Vikings.
They're playing the Vikings. Rookie quarterback Jarrett Hall. There we go. That's why I was going to bring that up. I like the Falcons. Their back end is really strong. It's going to be hard to throw on them to begin with. And then, you know, Madison has not been what we all thought he was going to be. So I definitely like the Falcons this week. And also another one would probably be the Patriots. Sam Howell, we'll get to talking about him. I love me some Sam Howell, but he can be a little Jekyll and Hyde, and he's going to give you some chances. You know what I'm saying? And basically to Bill Belichick, he's like a rookie quarterback, and we know what Bill Belichick does to younger quarterbacks that play him for the first time. Right. Yeah. He just confuses them. So I can see a couple of turnovers there. And he may still give you a good fantasy day, Sam Howell. But I do think the Patriots is a good streaming defense this week.
So there's a couple of ones I was looking at. Number one, Cleveland home against Arizona.
Yeah. Right? I like that. Clayton Tune might be starting.
I think they're starting Clayton Tune. And before this week, I would have said Pittsburgh Steelers against the Tennessee Titans, but Will Levis Will Levis just shocked the shit out of me and probably everybody in the fantasy community.
I would. But you know what? I like it, but you can see that sometimes. Guy comes in, you know what I'm saying? He's splitting time with Malik Willis.
They really didn't have any film on him either. Like they didn't have any tape on him. They didn't have anything.
And for him, like I said, he probably had a set amount of plays because he knew Willis was going to come and take a handful of snaps, and then he just took off with it. I'll temper my expectations with him. They do have a Thursday night game this week, right?
Yep.
On a short turnaround, on a short week.
Those tend to be sloppy games. Yeah.
Let's see what he's about on a let's see what he's about on a short week.
We'll talk about him in a few, but we knew he was a guy that you had to work with. But there's one thing that we absolutely know is that he has a fucking cannon.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins barbecued me in fantasy, and I don't think anybody saw that coming either.
He has a nuclear bomb strapped to his shoulder. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
One quick honorable mention as far as defensive streams go: New Orleans Saints at home against the Chicago Bears.
Nice pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one too. Yeah. Foot legends: Nico Collins or Deontay for this week.
Ooh.
That's a legitimate conversation now because Deontay looks like he's back in the fold and he's going to be the target hog, that he's been the past couple of years. I think I'm going Deontay. I think he has a safer floor here.
He may have the safer floor here. I like the way you said that. I do like some Nico Collins. After the bye, I don't know what happened to the Texans. They just came out of the bye flat. They haven't been moving the ball in the air. I mean, Carolina does have a better defensive backfield than a defensive front, but they couldn't move the ball at all on Carolina. But I do like Nico, and I can't believe I'm saying this. He's just a rookie. I like Stroud better than I like Kenny Pickett right now. So give me Nico Collins.
Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting.
That's a close one. Yeah, I think Hammer hit it kind of right on that. Floor play is going to be Deontay. You can feel pretty safe about that. And then Nico will be kind of that upside play. So depending what you need for the week, maybe depending who you're going against, how strong the rest of your team is, what you feel like. If you want to go for the gusto, then play Nico. You just want to play it safe and get some points, then play Deontay.
I'm always going for the gusto, Foot Legends. Don't be a bitch. Roll a dice.
Marty said he traded Dobbs for J-Mo, sent the offer last night. It got accepted after the trade on a rebuilding team. I like that move. Okay.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
J-Mo's, yeah. I think J-Mo's role is gonna be boom or bust. That's the big issue, right? Because Amon-Ra is number 1, Sam Laporta is number 2, and then J-Mo is basically 3-4 if you factor in Jahmyr Gibbs, who just went absolutely bonkers last night.
Yeah, but he's been a little bit. Jameson, I mean, in Dynasty, you take him because he's young. He's been a little bit disappointing. Can we say that? He was hurt all the first year.
And then had the gambling thing.
Yeah. Then he gets suspended, and now he's doing absolutely nothing. And he's probably getting 2-3 targets a game. He's been, you know what I'm saying? So if he doesn't catch a bomb, he's really, what is he? So he's been a little disappointing for me. Sure. But I guess you still make that trade because, Dobbs is in the sense of inspiring, player.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And I would just add on really quick to that because he's missed so much time that he really hasn't been able to kind of get in there and work and take those reps, obviously with the injury. And then we talked about early in the season with the gambling situation, the dude's missed a significant amount of time, right? His whole rookie year and a quarter of his sophomore year. So I do think as time goes on, because if you watch the game yesterday, while he wasn't heavily involved, they look to get him the ball in certain situations. And I think he fits perfect with that offense, considering you have Amon-Ra, considering you have Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, he's a perfect complement to those 3 guys. But like I said, he's going to be the definition of boom or bust on any given week.
Yeah, and I
also
think
go ahead, Steven. My bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they have such a good offense that like he has to fit into that. They don't have to, you know what I mean? Exactly. It's not like they have to accumulate, like they have to force him. Like he's got to somehow fit in the offense that they've already got pretty much established, or at least expand on that. So I think that's why it's kind of taken a little bit longer. And we knew he was more of one of those kind of deep threats. We knew he was going to be a guy that's going to spread the field, and Amon-Ra is going to be underneath and intermediate, and J-Mo is going to be more of more of a deep threat kind of guy. You saw they were kind of trying to get the ball in his hands a little bit also, like a couple screens and short little
He got blew up on that
passes as well.
reverse.
So
That was bad. Helmet came off and everything. Max Crosby Crosby should go to jail for that. But
Crispy in the building. What up, Crispy?
yeah, that was bad. But also, like you said, it's just, and I don't think we expected the Lions to run the ball as much, right? I think before the draft, we thought they were going to go heavy on the passing. You know what I'm saying? And then they turn around and they take Gibbs with the 12th overall pick. So you knew that, all right, Dan Campbell, now he wants to run the ball, but they run the ball, play action. He can still be that guy.
Robert, what's up, Robert? Just traded Russell Wilson, Sutton, and Judy for Fields, Dotson, and Garrett Wilson. Sutton and
8 to
Judy,
10.
Dotson, and Garrett Wilson. So you got Fields, you got Dotson, and you got Garrett Wilson.
If this is Dynasty, that's 8 to 10.
No, I'm guessing this is redraft. It's got to be redraft. There's
right.
no way. So yeah, Russell, Sutton, and Judy for Fields, Dotson, and Garrett Wilson.
I mean, no, you're going to, well, he traded to the guy he traded him to. You're going to play Sutton and Judy at the same time? No. You wouldn't do that. But, I mean, Fields should come back. That's good. Dotson had a good game. I guess he's selling a little high on him. And G. Will, his production every week is going to be up and down. You just never know when he's going to have a good game. But, you know, I like it, you know, but don't expect Dotson to go 8 for 108 again. That's not going to happen.
No,
Terry's the guy there.
It's kind of lateralish, but I guess Fields gives you the upside.
Yeah.
Even though he's risky, and then Russell is kind of more. He's been actually pretty solid.
Sutton's been really good this year.
Yeah. But all right, let's talk about the Vikings playmakers. Let's talk about Hawkinson, Addison. You know, even JJ when he comes back, what does this do? I mean, to their dynasty value? I mean, are we looking at them differently now? Like, how are we taking this? Where are they going in the pecking order of the dynasty world? How much of a hit is this for now, and even, you know, in the future, since that's unclear? And I guess we'll start with JJ real quick, and then we'll get into Addison and Hawkinson, and then we'll talk about how we can try and replace Kirk. But yeah, what do you guys think about does this affect JJ at all going forward for this year, or even in Dynasty in general? And is now the reality of that conversation can we put Chase ahead of JJ in Dynasty because of the quarterback situation? So
yes.
What do you guys think? Go ahead, Bagala. You can go first, I guess. Go ahead.
Yes, you absolutely Chase vaults JJ in dynasty situations. Now there's no doubt about it.
Whoa,
he jumps over him.
That's
for the rest of for the rest of the year. He's definitely over him, right? And for the rest of the year, you can look at what Hollywood did with Josh Dobbs, right? That's what you're going to probably get out of JJ. And it's not because JJ's not good or whatever. It's just because how many passes are going to be on target, right? Is he going to hit them in stride? Are there going to be catchable balls? Things like that. You know what I'm saying? Dobbs is solid, but he's not Kirk Cousins or you know, anything close to that for that matter. So Hollywood was solid with Dobbs, you know, wide receiver 20, 21, I think, somewhere around there. And I think for the rest of the year, that's where you can probably see JJ at. Addison and Hawkinson, I think that's going to fluctuate. It's going to be hit or miss on those guys. I think those guys are going to take bigger hits than JJ will, you know, because Dobbs seems to he'll find his guy. You know what I'm saying? His number one guy in his offense, he finds him. Everybody else is going to be hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? I think. That's just Dobbs' skill set. Plus, he runs a little bit more than Kirk does, right? So that's going to take a little bit away out of the passing also. If it's not there, he's going to take off. He's not going to sit there and go from 1 read to 2 read to 3 reads. You understand what I'm saying? So he's not going to necessarily spread the ball around. So for this year, Chase is definitely over him. For next year, Chase is definitely over JJ too, because Next year really scares me because that's the unknown, right? That's the unknown. Do you draft a quarterback going with a rookie? Or are you going to resign Kirk? Do you go in with Dobbs again and wait for Kirk? You know what I'm saying? So I think for the next 2 years, Chase is, because he has Burrow, he is definitely over JJ. And if Aaron Rodgers come back, Garrett Wilson might be over JJ too.
I think another.
I don't know if I can go that deep, but okay.
I can.
I think
But
another.
what about the future for Garrett Wilson then?
Well,
After Aaron Rodgers, then you're back in the same boat after the next year, right? We are projecting, down the line, right? So
yeah, I mean, Zach has made some strides. He's made some strides. So now, if Zach is able to get his shit together, you never know. But I think we're pretty sure that after Aaron Rodgers, because he's probably going to play next year, after that year, it's going to be Zach, right? They're not ready to move off of Zach yet.
It could be, but then if that's what I'm saying. If it's Zach, there's no way Garrett Wilson's in the JJ Chase range.
If he's shown signs. If he gets a little bit better, but maybe not. But with Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson definitely is. Right? Can we agree on that?
Well, yeah, but when we're talking about dynasty, it's not just the 1 year. So, right,
Yeah.
we're talking about in the future altogether, and and G Wilson, my boy G Willie is nice, but JJ is just, I think, in that tier where it's just JJ and Chase, and I don't think anybody else is in that at the moment.
Well, that's because they've had the quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
they got the guys.
Exactly. But that's the thing. After Aaron Rodgers, we don't know the quarterback. So
yeah, but Hammer, I would put Chase up there.
What do you got here? What do you got here on JJ?
The thing that is concerning for me, particularly this season, obviously, when we're talking about a new quarterback, is the amount of reps that they've had together, right? Kirk Cousins has been playing with Justin Jefferson for a significant amount of time. Now, I do think Justin Jefferson is one of those talents where he's kind of quarterback proof, similar to like a DeAndre Hopkins, similar to there was a couple other guys that I can't really think of off. Andre Johnson, maybe a little bit as well. There are some of those guys that are quarterback proof. I'm not saying it doesn't matter or his value won't take a hit. But I still think, listen, when it comes to fantasy, you're going to have to plug Justin Jefferson into your lineups regardless, right? But you have to temper your expectations, I think, as Bagala said, where, also, too, the volume of the passing game going to be the same, right? Are there going to be as many opportunities to go around, right? I don't see them giving Josh Dobbs the full Kirk Cousins playbook, right? Where he's throwing it 35, 40, 45, 50 times a game. So
RPOs, a lot of RPOs.
Right. So Justin Jefferson's going to have to be extremely efficient in terms of his catch percentage, right? So, listen, if you're getting 12, 13 targets a game, that's fine if you catch 8, right? But if you're getting 7 targets a game, you better catch 6 to have that impact. So, and another thing that definitely concerns me is the scoring opportunities, right? How many touchdowns is he going to have the opportunity to score to kind of vault his value? So it definitely takes a hit for Justin Jefferson. I think Bagala's kind of spot on. I think TJ Hawkinson will be fine, to be honest with you. I think Addison is the one that takes the hit the most because a security blanket as a tight end, and a good tight end at that, a top 3 tight end. I think we can all agree he's a top 3 tight end, not only in fantasy, but just in NFL period, where TJ Hawkinson is going to be a reliable safety valve, over the middle. I don't think TJ Hawkinson's value takes a hit. And Dobbs has proven that he can move offenses, right? He's not a complete pushover or a complete washout when it comes to quarterbacking. So while I do think that the volume takes a hit, I do think JJ and Hawkinson will still be productive. I think Addison is where it becomes that true boomer bust guy rather than what we've seen kind of out of the box where Kirk Cousins is slinging it all over the place. And Addison there's enough volume to support those 3 guys. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore if they're throwing 27, 28 times a game rather than 35, 45, 50, like I said before. So I think that's kind of how my outlook is on it. And it's going to be tough to really gauge, especially if you're trying to make trades involved in these guys, right? Because we know they're super talented, but what is their true value without Kirk Cousins and that offense we've pretty much seen since he's been there?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm with you on the Hawkinson thing. I don't think he's that much of a downgrade, especially when Dobbs was just airing it out to Ertz and McBride pretty much. So I'm
McBride had
okay.
a big game last week, but let's pump
I'm
the
okay
brakes.
with yeah, so I'm okay with Hawkinson there. I think you're right. Addison probably takes the most hit here. So it's rough. I mean, right now Addison is what, wide receiver 11 on keep trade cut. That's obviously going to fall.
It's going to be in the like 30s, I think.
Yeah, he's going to take
fall.
it.
I don't know if it'll go down that low. Probably, maybe into the late 20s, probably, I would guess. I mean, at least on keep trade cut wise, it's like, Diggs, Devonta Smith, JSN, Ayuk, Drake London, Zay Flowers.
Remember, he still has a few weeks before JJ comes back.
Well, so, no, that's what I'm saying, is that he'll probably be in between like the 15 to 20 range. But
I was thinking more season long, like projecting out for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah.
By the time it all wraps up.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, for sure. He's probably in the wide receiver 3 range, right? Probably at that point. Flex. So, all right, replacing Kirk Cousins, super flex leagues. This is the big question now. We've got competing teams. You've got Kirk Cousins as your QB2, and boom, Kirk Cousins goes down. So, what do we do? I mean, we're looking at some guys out there like Russ, Baker, Geno, Dobbs, Howell, Minshew, Zach Wilson, Danny Dimes. I mean, Heineke / Ritter. So, Hammer, I'll ask you first. I mean, who are you trying to target? Who are you, we need to get a QB in here. You are contending, so we need to somehow replace. Who are you willing to spend on? Who do you think is kind of the best bet? Like, who would you be trying to go after?
For me, the best value, and this might surprise you, is Gardner Minshew. Like, the best value here is Gardner Minshew, because I think people still sleep on him from a fantasy perspective, because obviously he is a backup quarterback. But if you remember last year when he took over for Jalen Hurts, I believe that was around Thanksgiving, somewhere near the fantasy playoffs, Gardner Minshew was really good. Obviously, that was a fantastic Eagles team, but this Indianapolis Colts offense has proven to have some really good weapons when you're talking about Michael Pitts, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce to a lesser degree, Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss are probably as good of a 1-2 combo in the backfield as you're going to get around the NFL at this point. So for my best bang for my buck, I would try and go and get a Gardner Minshew. Now, I know he's played pretty well, so that might kind of cost you maybe a little more than you're willing to spend. But I think the value is still pretty good on a guy like Gardner Minshew, especially because most people probably picked him up off the waiver wire at some point. And right now, Gardner Minshew, the last 3 weeks, he is quarterback 18, quarterback 3, and quarterback 16. So he's giving you some really good value, and the volume is there, right? He's thrown it 55 times, 23 times, 41 times, and 44 times. So the volume is going to be there to give you a safe floor at that super flex position. Now, he's not going to replace Kirk Cousins on a per game basis, but you can rely on Gardner Minshew to go out there and sling it around and get it to Downs and Michael Pittman and the rest of his playmakers. So I'm looking at Gardner Minshew here.
Yeah, I like Minshew. Gardner Minshew's a bowler. He's a bowler. Every way he's a bowler. He played good when he was in Jacksonville. He played good. He played good, for Philly last year, and he's playing good this year. And I think replacing Kirk, and if you're just looking, I know it's Dynasty, but if you're just looking for this year to replace him and you're in contention, you got to look for somebody with job security, right? You don't want to go for a Heineke or a Ritter because you don't know who's going to play on a week-to-week basis. They may flip-flop the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? This one's hot. He's going to get the start. Ritter's going to get – you just don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I like Gardner. I like Sam Howell too, to an extent. He can put up some big numbers. He's also young. What is it going to cost you to get him? But with him and the things that are going on in Washington, I don't. How long does he have the job? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's been playing good, but they're starting to sell shit. You know what I'm saying? They sold off Chase Young, they sold off Montez Sweat. Weird things are going on in Washington, and it wouldn't surprise me if Howell has a bad game or two, and they sit him down for Jacoby Brissett to try and get a better pick or something. You know what I'm saying? So I like Gardner Minshew, and surprisingly, I like Baker Mayfield too. He's gonna be there, and he's gonna start. He's the quarterback in Tampa Bay. He has good weapons. He's put up good numbers this year. He's getting a bowl of Mike Evans. He's getting a bowl of Chris Godwin. You know what I'm saying? And it looks like he's cured those turnover problems that he's had. So for me, the two, like, I'm with Polish, Minshew, and another one that I would look to go get on a cheaper side is Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? If you're
really quick to that Sam Howell point, I was just looking at Sam Howell, and after that massive game last week, and he's had some really big games. I think he's sitting at QB8 right now, which is very surprising.
Sam Howell, I've been all over Sam Howell. I love Sam Howell, and he may be, since he's young and things like that, he may be a little bit more expensive to go get, but he does have, the ability to throw in some of those big games. But like I said, Washington is in a weird state right now. You know what I'm saying? And if you're in contention and you're trying to make a run, you can't lose your quarterback for a game or two. You understand? Just because they want to sit him down because he had two bad games, or they're not winning, so they're going to start Jacoby Brissett. You know what I'm saying? So I think Minshew, he's the guy, right? For the rest of the year, it's going to be Gardner Minshew, and I don't see Tampa Bay sitting down Baker Mayfield. So I think those are the two safest bets that, they're not going to blow the doors off, but they're going to give you a nice safe floor, like Polish was saying.
Yeah, I think it depends, how much do you want to spend? I mean, Minshew probably shouldn't cost you too much. I mean, maybe a second plus, now that, people know that you need a quarterback for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah, they're going to get you.
You're going to pay the tax. Yeah.
You're going to have to pay at least a tax on that, and I don't want to pay for, a Russ. Even a Howell at this point, like, people like Howell.
Yeah.
Like you said, we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I think I'm with you guys too. Minshew and Baker are probably two of the guys that I'd be looking at to replace.
Safest and cheapest.
Yep.
So they'll both probably cost you maybe a second plus, I think, at this point. Or even a Dobbs, like. Do we know, like, for sure if it's going to be Jaren Hall or Dobbs? Like, what if Jaren Hall plays good this game? Do we continue on? Do we continue on with him? I mean, or maybe you do. Do you go the cheap route and just buy Heineke and Ritter for like 2/3 or a second and just play it safe and just, all right, I got both of them?
No, because as Bagala said, you don't know which way that situation's going. At least if I get Minshew or Sam Howell, or even who's the other guy you brought up?
But that's what I'm saying. What if you can't get those guys? What if the tax is too much on those guys? Would you spend 1 second and get Heineke and Ritter and have both of, and then you have both of them?
If I'm gonna do that, that's if I have to. If you're telling me I have to, yeah.
If that was an option. Because the guy that has Baker is like, you know what? I'm not giving up Baker unless you give me Ayuk.
Well,
because I think he's got a chance, like you said, maybe he gets a deal with the Bucks or something like that.
Yeah, I think, and he's there for the rest of the year. But I don't want Heineke and or Ritter. Like, if that's my last option, I'll fucking the guy that got Daniel Jones or Zach Wilson. I'll throw him a bag of magic beans. You know what I'm saying?
So let's just
one of
play.
those guys.
Let's just say, because they're not all going to be available, right, in every league. Let's just say the Minshew owner, that's on a contending team, so you can't get Minshew. Baker's on a contending team. Geno's on a contending team. We can't get those guys. So we've got basically,
now you're looking at Jimmy
Dobbs,
G,
Howell,
Mac
Zach
Jones.
Wilson, Daniel Jones, maybe Mac Jones. I mean, let's just say that those guys that we said aren't available, you can't get those guys. Who is another guy maybe that you'd like to go after?
Jimmy G and Mac Jones, I feel like they're kind of limited, right? And they're even talking about benching Jimmy G right now. He was like, that performance last night was so bad. It was so bad.
I won because Jacoby fucking was trash.
Yeah, it was so bad, right? And so they're even talking about benching them. And I feel like they're limited. If I'm going to pay for something like that, I'd rather pay for some upside, right? So, and I know he's been horrible and I know he's been hurt, but guess what? He can run his ass off. I'll go get Danny Dimes. At least he gives me the upside of running, and he's going to be dirt cheap right now. You could probably get him for a bag of magic beans, right? So give me the guy with the rushing upside that if he somehow gets his shit together, and maybe he can give you some good games, right? Because we've seen Daniel Jones put up 30-point games, right? 38-point games, 40-point games, because he can run with his legs. And I would rather do that than go for a Mac Jones or with Mac Jones with no weapons, and Jimmy G, who you don't know if he's going to start the next week because he might he might throw it into the parking lot while Devontae Adams is running a 3-yard slant. So I'd rather, or give me Zach. At least I know Zach is going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, going back to JJ real quick with Chase, I mean, you could definitely make the argument to put Chase over him because of the longevity, because of the tie to Joe Burrow. So I'm okay with that. I think JJ is kind of the better overall talent, but without that kind of elite QB, it's tough to kind of put him over Chase almost at this point when you're just talking about dynasty rankings.
And you dodged the bullet, motherfucker.
And I wound up trading JJ.
Dodging
I got Chase in return on a contending team, but I had to give up Garrett Wilson though, which I didn't like. So I had to do what I had to do. I made a decision and said, fuck it, I'm going all out. I didn't have my first round pick. And so I had to pick a direction. I was either going to have to either get my first round pick back or start making other trades. And I wound up, being able to pick up Chase, even though I had to give up JJ and Garrett Wilson. But I got some pieces that helped me at least for this year. It's going to be a tough rebuild after this 1-2 years that I got here. But we'll see where that takes me. But that's at least what we're looking at here for replacing Kirk. I do still like Addison as well, but he's definitely going to fall into probably the 15-20-ish range for me as far as dynasty wide receivers. And I do still like him. I just, as I thought before, he's always kind of going to be capped with Justin Jefferson across from him. Then obviously with the QB situation, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt as well.
In this class, baby.
Yeah. We could argue that on another day.
Yeah.
But all right, let's get to some of these questions, and then we're going to talk about my guy CD. But all right, Najee on Thursday or Hunt or Pierce. PPR, pick one to start.
It's not Najee and it's not Pierce. Go Kareem Hunt here.
Yeah, I was just about to say it. Surprisingly,
I'm okay with that.
I'm going with Kareem Hunt too for the week. All right.
Let's go with Hunt. What do you think about Dobbs to the Vikes? Hall rookie going to be the starter this week.
Yeah, I think he'll be good.
Hall has to play good. If Hall plays good, he's gonna get the he'll lengthen his leash the more he plays good, right? So if he plays good this week, he'll get the next game. in the next game. But, you know, he has one really bad game. I think Dobbs comes in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because, Dobbs doesn't know that offense. He doesn't know those players. He doesn't know anything.
It's going to
At
take
least
a
Hall's
week.
right. At least Hall's been there. He kind of knows. Obviously he's in all the meetings. He's in all the practices. He's probably run with those guys a little bit here and there. So I think that what you said is probably accurate. Like Hall he's on a week to week basis. And if, Hall goes out there and throws for 275 and 2 touchdowns this week against the Falcons, then I think he gets to start the next week.
Realistically, I think what the Vikings want to do is they want to get to the bye week before they put in Dobbs, right? And if they're able to do that, then that gives Dobbs some time. But the only way they're able to do that is if Hall plays good.
So the Vikings bye week is week 13. So that's virtually a month out. Which that's a lot of time, and I don't think the Vikings have that much time to play around if they want to make a playoff push, right? If Hall goes out there and stinks it up against Atlanta,
then Dobbs is going to come in.
Then Dobbs is going to come in, and I think Dobbs will probably be in by the second game, which is New Orleans, Denver at the very latest, because he needs time to catch up with that playbook and get in sync with all those guys. And don't forget, Justin Jefferson can be activated week 10. So that is on the imminent, department for the Vikings. And I think Justin Jefferson now has some incentive to come back because they're 4-4 and they're right in the thick of the playoff mix. So there's incentive there. So I think sooner or later you're going to see Josh Dobbs, Justin Jefferson coming back. And I think Josh Dobbs will do fine. I think he was quarterback 16 on Arizona with not nearly as good of weapons as there is in Minnesota.
Yeah, but would you also
I think Josh Dobbs will be fine.
But would you also have to realize it's a big difference of learning a playbook and learning the offense in the offseason than it is in the middle of the season.
Well, if you remember, Josh Dobbs didn't get to the Cardinals until very late in the season, right? And he kind of
late in the offseason.
He's done this a few times now,
right? So I think he's very adept, right? Josh Dobbs didn't come in there until virtually the end of the preseason. Remember, they dumped Colt McCoy and they traded for Josh Dobbs. So I don't think that's as big of an issue as we
but I think
it is. I think it'll take a week or two, but I think it'll be sooner rather than later.
We'll see. I guess I just want to see. I guess I just want to see Hall do good. Let's let the kid run.
Yeah, but I don't think the Vikings look at it. They look at it as, hey, we have a win now kind of team, right? Like offensively, anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We'll see what he can do and then take it from there, I guess.
Yeah, he's on a week-to-week basis.
Stafford going to play? We don't know yet. I mean,
he's questionable.
They said he could possibly go to. They said he could possibly go to IR. So I mean, this isn't good.
A UCL sprain in his right thumb.
X-rays
So,
negative.
It's all about how he pain management and if he can grip the ball, right?
Yep.
Zeb, what up, Zeb? Stafford, if he plays Howell or Zach Wilson, gotta be Howell.
Yeah, right? I would tend to agree with that.
It's
not Zach Wilson at this point, and Stafford with the injury.
Yeah, I would roll. I would roll with Howell, even though I don't think he has a good game this week.
Wide receiver roster traded T. Higgins for a round 1 and 2. So you traded him for a first and a second. Is that first early, mid, late? What's that first looking like? What's your team, I guess, trajectory? I don't know if I would have. I mean, T. Higgins is still a nice young wide receiver.
Yeah, but he'll always be capped by Chase.
If he doesn't go somewhere next year or the year after.
I don't think they let him go though.
I mean, it's not a horrible. I mean, you're getting a first and a second. I don't know if he's quite in the 2 first range, but I mean, I guess if you need the assets and you've got some heavy wide receivers, like you said, then
I think he got fair value there for a first and a second for T.
I would agree with that as well, especially if you said he's wide receiver heavy.
Yeah.
Crispy said he likes Levis. Levis was just a guy that another just kind of project guy that's got a cannon for an arm. He did great just kind of slinging it out there, but now when defenses are kind of really going to key in, is he going to be able to process those defenses and make the right decisions? So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Will Levis, but he's got his chance.
Yeah, and it's a little different when you're playing two quarterbacks and the defense has to get ready for two quarterbacks and one runs and one throws. So you know what I'm saying? So they had a lot going on. It's a lot different, and you don't know how much of the playbook they gave him. This will tell me a lot about Will Levis. Short week. Can he get a hold of the playbook? How is he going to play? They're playing the Steelers. This defense gives up yards. It gives up points through the air. He should have a good game. If he doesn't, I think you worry a little bit.
If there's one thing we know about NFL defenses is they make adjustments, right? We've seen it done time and time again, and then it's up to the quarterback to make those counter adjustments. So, like you said, I think because Will Levis really wasn't on the radar per se, and there's no NFL tape on him, right? He doesn't have any real NFL snaps, and the preseason doesn't count to me because that's very vanilla. So I think he kind of caught some people by surprise, definitely caught me by surprise. I think I played the what defense did they play? Who did they play against last week?
Falcons, I think it was, right?
Falcons, they played the Falcons.
Right. So I played the Falcons defense and they got torched in one of my redraft leagues. So I think once the scouting department kind of locks in this week and kind of gets their mojo working, I think there will be some. I don't think it's going to be 4 touchdowns, and you're not going to see these bombs all over the place. They're going to start playing some zone coverage with safety help over the top, dropping 8 guys into coverage, and seeing.
Or they're going to heat them up.
Have the patience,
or they're going to they're going to heat them up. That's the best way to get to a rookie quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Make them find out where the blitz is coming from. They'll heat them up.
Might as well talk about Levis now before CD, since we're on it. But yeah, I think. I mean, I'm not crazy surprised. The one thing about the Titans and Will Levis that kind of mixes is that he has that cannon. So when you've got a guy like Derrick Henry in the backfield and you've got these 8-9 man stack boxes and you're getting these one-on-ones with DeAndre Hopkins and a big boy Treylon Burks, and this guy's being able to push the ball downfield, with enough time. He doesn't have to necessarily be crazy great. He's handing the ball off, maybe getting some play action going and chucking the ball downfield. I think it kind of mixes decently well. Like I kind of like it. I'm not like a huge crazy Will Levis fan. And but I just think that what he's going to be forced to do or asked to do kind of does mix kind of well with, with Derrick Henry back there and some of the defenses that he's going to be probably seeing as far as stacking the box. Or if they don't stack the box, then now you got Derrick Henry rolling. So it's kind of, it's kind of what they do on offense, right? Tannehill wasn't great, but can you control the offense and then throw those bombs and take those chances when you can? I think I like it.
He definitely fits, right? He definitely fits, but you still got to be smart when you're throwing those bombs. You know what I'm saying? And he's gonna see a lot. He's gonna see a lot. So he has to process, you know what I'm saying? And things like that. But what he does have going for him is that he can probably throw it out of the stadium if he needs to, right? So, but you got to be smart when you're taking those shots because you can't just be turning the ball over.
He was basically in Superflex, either like a late first, early second, depending on your league, right? That's what he was basically coming into the season and in rookie drafts. So what is he worth now? Is it the same, relatively the same? And are we buying? Hammer, I'll let you take it first. What do you think?
I think if you can get him for an early second, I'd be comfortable with that. The problem is that we just don't know what his job security will be, right? Like if he struggles or whatever, and they decide to kind of do that 50-50 nonsense with Malik Willis. Obviously, I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to be around much longer in Tennessee. So I have to see a little bit more on him. But listen, if I'm a contending team and I have Kirk Cousins and he went down and I'm looking out there and I can get my hands on a Will Levis because he's somebody's fourth quarterback, I think you could take the chance on the upside based on what we saw last week. Now, I do think there's going to be some struggles. He's going to have to adjust to these defenses, like we talked about, whether it's the blitz or just dropping back in zone coverage. But if I'm desperate, I wouldn't mind taking it, especially if I'm a contender and I kind of need somebody in that super flex spot. So a second somewhere in there, I think is worth it at this point.
I think before you go on, I think the second is you can't do it with the second. I don't think that's possible because somebody either got him with a late first or an early second, and now he's actually playing and he just threw 4 tutties. So you're not getting them for just a second or possibly not even a late first. You might have to spend more than that. Are you okay with doing that?
No, then I'd rather package a first and something else and go get a more stable situation. Right.
Exactly.
I would offer, like I said, if I had an early to mid round second, I'd offer that. If the person said no, fine, let him sit on your bench and you're not going to get anything from me. Right. Because like I said, he's probably somebody's third or fourth quarterback, most likely fourth, but probably somebody's third or fourth quarterback. So because he wasn't even the starting quarterback going into this season. So at the end of the day, he's sitting on somebody's bench he's probably never playing on that person's team. So they're more apt to potentially get something for him at this point, right? And we don't even know what his future holds. So at this point, a second or early second is probably what they're going to get. If they're asking for a late first, I'd rather package that with something else and go get, somebody that we talked about, Sam Howell.
Yeah, and
I ain't spending that on Sam Howell.
And I understand. I'm just saying, if I'm desperate, people are going to tax me, right?
Yeah, but also Sam Howell has the security right now a little bit, more than because if Will Levis knocks it out the park, that's the only way he gets to start the rest of the season. He cannot make any mistakes because excuse me, because even if he's up and down, they're gonna go back to Tannehill, because Tannehill's a veteran or whatever the case is. And that's just what they're going to do. They're going to let Tannehill finish out the season. And then, they'll give Levis the keys next year. So Levis has to knock it out the park these next couple of games for them to even keep Tannehill on the bench. He has to go on a winning streak right here. So, and Thursday's the start of it. But I would buy Levis right now. Just because after this year, he's probably going to be the starting quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And
so what's the limit? It might, like we said, it might cost a late first plus. What if it's a late first and a second?
I'd probably give a late first and a third. I think a late first and a second because it's one game. Let's not overreact. All right. I'm not paying for one game because I don't know what's down the line, what's going to happen. Now, if he was the starting quarterback for the rest of the way, if Tannehill had tore his Achilles, then all right, maybe I'll throw you a late first and a second, whatever. But, if I throw you a late first or 2 firsts or a late first and a second, and fucking God doesn't finish the season, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck. Now I'm back to where I am. I'm back to looking for a quarterback, and I don't have the assets to do it now. You know what I'm saying? Because I spent it on Will Levis. So his situation has to be a little bit more clear. I'm not overreacting. Like Polish said, you don't want to take my second. You know what I'm saying? Well,
let him sit on your bench.
Let him sit there, and maybe he plays, and maybe he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, he might be the future, but I don't know if I'm willing to pay.
I don't know if the future's right now.
Paying that. Yeah, I'm not paying that price right now. I'll buy back in when maybe we know for sure, and pay for him at that time. But as of right now, I don't think I can pay more than
if he's
an early second or that late first. For that, I don't even think I wouldn't even give up the late first, to be honest.
And if he's good, I'll be happy to pay that, right?
Yeah.
I'll be happy to pay your price if he's good, but I have to know that he's going to start the rest of the. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He has to be the
Right.
quarterback.
Frank in the building. What up, Frank? Do you think Atlanta will see what Gibbs did last night and now unleash Bijan?
No, because they have
I've always
because
thought
they have
Gibbs
an
was better.
idiot for
So
a coach. That's why.
I've
The
always thought
Lions
Gibbs
actually
was better.
the Lions actually have a
They,
competent coach.
Well,
they
easy
will.
because it took for Monty to go down, for Dan Campbell to come to his senses and give Gibbs the ball, right?
Yeah, but they didn't have to give Gibbs the ball. Bijan is the guy. You know what I mean?
he is the guy, and
Or
I don't
sort
know
of
what
think,
Arthur Smith does.
and they were
Right.
like,
Thank you.
Arthur Smith was like, let me see, let me put my tight end 1 to block for
And
my tight end 2
2.
to throw a pass to my tight end 3 down in the red zone. That seems
Yep.
like a great idea.
Yep. So I don't know. I doubt,
Oh my
honestly.
God.
I was watching the Pat McAfee show, and they had Arthur Smith on, and he does not give a fuck. All right, he don't
No.
care.
He
He
does
does
it just
not
to
care.
spite everybody now, just to be a scumbag, to show that he's got the power.
He's smarter than everybody else. That's the mentality he has. He does not care about Kyle Pitts. He does not care about Bijan. So he's gonna call the game the way he's gonna call. And I think you should expect a little bit more of what you're getting right now. Maybe in December, when they're in like the playoff race, you may see Bijan get unleashed.
I will say he finally came to senses and put Heineke in. Now I know Ritter was like kind of under the concussion thing, but then they said he was okay to come back in, and he wound up just staying with Heineke. So I mean, he did make that decision. I don't know if that was for just to see what Heineke
Now,
can
does
do,
Ritter play
or
next
whether
week?
he was trying to really protect Ritter or not. But
we'll find out this week. If Ritter's out there, then
I won, and I won in one of the Hustler dynasties. I had no quarterbacks to play because I have Deshaun Watson, and
So you played
he was
Heineke.
out. So I played Heineke in my QB slot because I couldn't play a player. I had to play. I played a player in my Superflex spot for the actual QB spot. I just threw Heineke in, and I wound up winning on the Abdullah last second catch in that game because I had Abdullah in my RB slot.
Fantasy gods.
If there's one thing we know about the Falcons, it's always some shit, right? Bijan last week, Ritter and Heineke this week. It's always some shit with the Falcons.
Jay Tan, should I play Stafford, Baker, or Geno this week? We don't know if Stafford's going to play, and he's a little injured, so we'll probably just eliminate Stafford, right?
Yeah, I think Geno. I think the safer bet would be Geno, to play Geno. I wouldn't, even if Stafford comes down to a game time decision. I'm not waiting for Stafford. I think I would play probably Geno over Baker.
Geno against the Ravens or Baker against the Texans?
I'm taking Baker. I'm taking Baker against the Texans. And Geno Smith on the road hasn't been that great this season. Has only really had one standout game at Detroit. So I'm taking Baker here with a better matchup. They're both on the road, so I'll take Baker with the better matchup.
I don't know. I like Geno.
All right, I'll go with Baker as well. Gainwell or McKinnon? Zeb said. What up, Zeb?
At this point, I think Gainwell's getting more of the work. I think Pacheco's has taken over that backfield.
And Pacheco is 100% taking over that backfield.
So I think Gainwell gets a little bit more opportunities than McKinnon now, unless the game script calls for it. I would go Gainwell.
I mean, Gainwell ain't getting shit really either. I mean, 2 carries last game, but he did have the 5 catches. And then McKinnon, on the other hand, kind of 2 carries, 2 catches.
Nothing.
So they're kind of
I would go
in the same-ish boat, I guess.
Bro, I live in Pennsylvania, and every time I turn on the Eagles game and they're in the red zone, I always see number 14. I'm taking Gainwell.
But yeah, I was gonna say I'll take Gainwell. I'll take Gainwell as well.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 coin, but Gainwell's getting at least a little more stable production back there.
Superflex, Hurts and Herbert, 8-0. Hopefully get Fields back soon. And you also have Purdy. Okay, so you can trade one of those guys.
Yeah.
And
Are you? What are
roll with the
you
3.
doing right? Are you just flexing nuts right now, Robert? You're just flexing nuts that you have all these quarterbacks,
And you're 8-0.
and you're 8-0.
Marty said he can see Dobbs thrown it 35 times. Yeah, I can see that as well. I mean, I think that obviously it's a little bit of a downgrade, but it's not a horrible. Like I'm not putting JJ outside of like my top 10 weekly plays. Like I don't think it's that bad. You know what I mean?
No, you play JJ if you have him. So
no, of course.
Yeah, I think the real question is more on the Addison side. You know.
Yeah, but he's not going to throw 35 times a game. He's not.
I can
gonna
see
do
that. I don't know how much are they going to change the offense. Are we going to roll with Madison and Akers, or are we going to continue to just run our kind of offense the way that we want to
Yeah, but Dobbs also runs himself, and you have to take that
fine.
into consideration too. They're going to put some running plays in there for him. You know what I'm saying?
So instead of 45 times that we're throwing it, maybe he throws it 35.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
the
35,
problem,
40. Like that's fine.
Even with that volume, right? If the volume is 35 times a game, I don't think he's going to be nearly as efficient as Kirk Cousins is, and I think that is something. But that's I think what kind of is at the crux of it at this point. If we're talking fantasy relevancy for all these guys. Dobbs can throw 30 times a game. I'm not saying he can't. I just don't think we're going to see the level of efficiency that we've seen with Kirk Cousins. And I think people, even if you run that same offense, that's fine. That doesn't mean it's going to produce the same volume.
True.
No, of course. I'm just saying I don't think the drop off is like, okay, now we've got to put JJ outside of like the top 10. Like
no.
I think that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Just temper your expectations though with JJ.
Oh, for sure. Crispy said Minshew's definitely better than Richardson.
Slow down, David.
Yeah, I would say
slow down. You're tripping over your feet. You're gonna hurt yourself.
I think Richardson was, when he was healthy, he was a top 5 QB in the full healthy games that he played. But the big question is like, can he stay healthy? You know, and we haven't been able to see that yet. So this is NFL, and you're a big boy, Rich, but these boys are bigger. So,
but I think this has taught him, right? Like, let's not do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? He had surgery, and also I think the Colts will make a concerted effort to work on that with him. Right? You get out there, you get what you need, slide, get down. You know what I'm saying?
One of my biggest issues with Anthony Richardson, and we did kind of the guys that we're targeting, guys we're staying away from. One of the biggest reasons why I said stay away from Anthony Richardson is for situations like this. And, the Justin Fields, right? The Cam Newtons, the guys like that get hurt, especially early on in their career when they haven't been able to figure out like, hey, listen, I need to get my behind down before I get my shit rocked.
That's not enough for me to stay away from him. He's way too dynamic.
No, I understand, but if he's not on the field, what good is he doing you?
Yeah, but he's way too dynamic. I would bet money that he hopefully he learns. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking that chance. Just me, I'm rolling those dice. I better not crap out.
You might crap out.
Hey, if I do, I'll be happy with it. Because if I don't, he has potential to be an overall QB1.
Sam Howell or Minshew redraft?
That's a hard one.
That is a tough one. I think Sam Howell gives you a little more rushing upside.
He gives you a little bit more.
But I think I like Minshew.
Minshew has a safer floor.
Yeah, I think I like Minshew a little more with a little more stability on a week-to-week basis. But man, Sam Howell's been pretty good. Like I say, QB8 so far with that massive week.
I love me some Sam Howell. I'm gonna go Sammy H.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll go with that as well. Because the Colts, I mean, they've got a good running game also. Not so much for the Commanders, but they're typically like down in games and they got to throw. I mean, Sam Howell throwing the ball 50 plus times. I mean,
400 yards.
That's crazy. Jamie in the building. What up, Jamie? Happy Halloween, Jamie. Dressed up as a Canadian this year, drinking Labatt, wearing a hockey jersey, and add an EH at the end of every sentence. Eh?
It's not EH, it's A.
Happy Halloween, eh? That's what I'm talking about, mate. Fight Queen. Dobbs is super intelligent. Yeah, I heard that. He's like
Yeah.
some real genius type fucking some dude. Yeah, she said these are things I just been learning today. Very smart. He can learn the playbook quickly. Also hope that Hole does great because why not? Purdy did it last year. Is Jaron Hall the next Brock Purdy?
All right, now
I
Brock
lost
Purdy is the
Cousins.
standard.
I lost Cousins and Rodgers in one league. He's got 2 losses. I gave up first and second for Levis. Okay. The MILF Hunter and Downs. I like that. You're getting Josh Downs, who was worth basically like an early second at that. And then you're getting Zach Wilson and Levis for basically the first, you can say. I'm okay with that. I like it. And you're in contention. So you got him for pretty much cheap. You didn't really pay a tax on it. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, if he got 2 quarterbacks for a first and a second, and the wide receiver, a young wide receiver in Downs. Yeah, he it's close to being 8 to 10. I'll give him 3 to 6. That was a good
like
trade.
that, Crispy.
Yeah, that was a good trade.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. I mean, listen, if you're in contention and you have to make up some, some of that deficit by using some of your picks and cashing them in, that's what they're there for, right? They're there to go out and buy things to be able to kind of keep steady the ship, as so to speak. So, I mean, listen, it's not ideal, but at this point in the season, right, you kind of got to do what you got to do, especially if you're going for it.
Yeah, I don't know how you have fucking 2 losses and you lost Cousins and Rodgers.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was the second and third QBs.
Yeah.
He's probably got a QB1, but yeah, that's a good trade. Good trade, Crispy. Jamie said, if the Titans aren't competing, why bring back Tannehill when they can give the younger guy some experience? Yeah, if they're not competing. But,
if they're not competing.
But if you guys remember, in the offseason, Ryan Tannehill was rumored to be one of those quarterbacks on the move anyway. So I don't really see him, another offseason. He'll be 36 years old, something like that. So and you've got Levis. I would do that if I was the Titans, regardless.
I mean, yeah, you would, but if you feel like you can make a run for a wild card spot or something like that, you're always gonna lean with the veteran, right?
Yeah. Should I trade Devontae Adams away? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Just who's gonna want him at this point? That's gonna be the hard part.
Right, his value is gonna be really not what you want it to be if you're looking to get 85 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
What up, Bakes a lot in the building. Crispy said Richardson is a bust. I don't think we've seen that yet, but I'm currently trying to move off of him in a league, but I can't get rid of him right now, so I'm gonna have to wait till next season when he starts actually producing.
I'll take him. I want all of that stock. I hope he burns.
Well, you're not in. This is a hustle league. You're not in this one.
So just send them over.
All right. So we talked about Levis. All right. Let's talk about CD real quick. And obviously, he had this monster game where they need to just have the focal point of the offense just be on him and just play around that, which they kind of did last game. But yeah, what do you guys think about CD now? I know AJ Brown has been going ham, so. I would say that you can put AJ Brown above CD right now, kind of right after the JJ and Chase. I think it's kind of an AJ Brown and then maybe CD, or you might even, do we put Amon-Ra over CD right now?
I would.
So I'm I want to hear what you guys think about CD, that Cowboys offense in general right now, and then what you guys think about CD and his dynasty value. Like, where does he fall in line now? Because going into the season, he was valued pretty much as the wide receiver 3, above AJ Brown and Amon-Ra. But yeah, what do you guys think? I'll let Bagala, you take this one first.
I love Steve. Me and you both, we love CD, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love CD, and I just think his talent and everything, he should be up there. What I don't love is Mike McCarthy. And as long as Mike McCarthy's there, I rank AJ and St. Brown above CD because you just don't know what McCarthy's going to do. right? He may run it with Tony Pollard. He may get cute. His offense is very vanilla sometimes. And it's just like, oh my God, right? Why aren't you throwing it to him? Why aren't you getting him the ball? Now, worked out in this game, Rams defense, the back end at least, isn't very good. So CD ran wild. But Mike McCarthy and his play calling is so unpredictable. I can't say that for the rest of the season, CD is going to be on AJ's level or St. Brown for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Because Dan Campbell gets Dan Campbell finds ways to get St. Brown the ball. Right? Nick Sirianni is going to find ways to get AJ Brown the ball. And it just seems like, I don't know. I don't like Mike McCarthy. And CD's going to be good for the rest of the season, no doubt. Right? But I have a hard time putting him over those guys right now.
Hammer, what do you think? CD, Dynasty value, where we at?
The problem I have with CD Lamb, and I think Bagala kind of started it on the right track, is that they're too much of a roller coaster offensively, right? They have no identity. Mike McCarthy wants to run it as if he has Derrick Henry in his backfield, and that's just not the case. Utilize your best weapons. Now, CD Lamb's coming off back-to-back 100-yard games, and I think they kind of figured some things out, but there's just so much unpredictability. Dak Prescott could go off the rails like he did against San Francisco, or, some of the other games that he shot against Arizona, right? He struggled in that game, right? So Dak can go off the rails sometimes, but I think what you've seen from AJ Brown is they've really unlocked that next level. We thought we saw it last year. What AJ Brown is doing right now is next level from what he did last year, and just in terms of the consistency with what he's doing it. And Amon-Ra St. Brown has just quietly been the better receiver. Like quietly been the better receiver.
6-7 catches every game. It's just, and nobody talks about it.
Yeah. So I think Amon-Ra is even more consistent than CD Lamb at this point, right? There's a more steady offense. There's a more steady identity to that Lions offense. And I never thought I would say that the Lions offense has more of an identity than the Dallas Cowboys. I never thought I'd be sitting up here saying that. So I would lean that way as well, just because of a number of factors, the coaching and the quarterback, right? They're a roller coaster at this point. I think with Philadelphia and with Detroit and those two wide receivers respectively, there's a plan.
A lot more stable.
They know who they are. They know what they're doing on a game in, game out basis. Whereas the Cowboys, I was listening to, I don't know if it was NFL Live or First Take or something, or Get Up, one of those morning shows. And I was listening to one of the analysts say, yeah, they were throwing it to Michael Gallup.
You see what I'm saying?
Right? Now, have they turned the corner because they've seemed to unlock Brandon Cooks a little bit? So that I like to see. Jake Ferguson has become a steady player at the tight end position, but there are some concerns. And listen, I've been a fan of a team that had Mike McCarthy as their head coach for, I think it was 9-10 years, something like that. After a while, he becomes very archaic in his play call.
Vanilla.
So that definitely concerns me. Give me AJ Brown, give me Amon-Ra, and I'll feel better.
Yeah, and then CD.
Yeah, I think I'm with you as well. I'm not like crazy worried about the QB situation. I think Dak will be there. But yeah, I mean, I think right now, even though Jared Goff doesn't have the contract yet, I think that's coming, just the way that offense is playing, the way he runs that offense. And, we've been talking about it all off season, how much of a bargain, Jared Goff is, and especially in super flex leagues, like the price where you can get him, in startups. And, now he's going to wind up getting that contract and, going to be vaulted up. But yeah, I've got CD kind of right after, like you said, I got AJ Brown, and then you've got even Amon-Ra, and then I've got CD tagged in kind of right after that. I'm with you guys on that. But is that where we have CD? Are you pushing him any further down than that? Cheetah, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, Olave, Puka. I mean, are you
I
pushing
mean,
him any further down, or is that does
I
that
mean,
have to be the line? This is Dynasty, so we're talking about the future as well. So are you
and
pushing him further down?
and that's probably the only reason he's ahead of Cheetah. Right?
Yeah.
It's because it's Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cheetah's the man.
Yeah, I
Right?
agree with
So,
that.
and he has the years. So that's the only reason, because the numbers are not even close.
Mm-hmm.
But I can Puka, I have a hard time because Cup is still in. And listen, CD, his talent, and when he, when they get him the ball, he does the things. It's just that when they go into games, every game they should say, I need to get this guy 7 to 10 targets. And for whatever reason, it feels like it doesn't happen. Like these past 2 weeks it did. But trust me, there's going to be 2 or 3 games down the line, maybe more, where you go, why didn't they throw CD the ball?
This is the same question we're having about Devontae Adams right now.
Exactly. Like, why isn't the ball going to him? You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason. So I like CD right where he's at. Right where he's at, right after Amon-Ra. The only reason that he's not underneath Cheetah is because it's Dynasty and Cheetah's 30 years old, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. So would you, I guess my question would be, and when I was thinking about Cheetah, is would you rather have 6 more years of CD Lamb or 3 more years of Cheetah at this pace?
If you're going to guarantee me at this pace, I'm taking Cheetah, but we can't guarantee that, right? Because I love Cheetah. He's one of my favorite players. And when he goes off, when Cheetah goes boom, he goes boom. But when he's not the crispest route runner, you know what I'm saying? He's not that type of receiver, right? He relies on his speed a lot. Right. And he's working with 10 yards to 15 yards of separation, with the corners and everything. So he has a lot of room to work there. And Mike McDaniels gets creative with getting him the ball and underneath routes and things like that. But once that speed goes, I don't think Cheetah's going to be that same guy. Right. So if you can guarantee me 3 more years of this, yeah, I'm taking Cheetah over CD Lamb. But it's going to be a big risk, because once he drops off, I feel like Cheetah's going to drop off. You know what I'm saying?
Let's make it easy. You're a contending team.
I'm taking Cheetah.
You've got CD straight up in the inbox. Cheetah for CD.
I'm contending. I'm taking Cheetah. I'm taking Cheetah. I'm sending them for shit.
I'm a mid. I'm a mid team. I have CD. Are you taking Cheetah?
Cheetah, depending on what your team looks like, Cheetah could vote.
I'm 4-4 right now.
And you're trying to get in the playoffs, I probably take Cheetah.
I'm right in the mist.
If that's what you want to do, if you want to try and make a run, you take Cheetah, because Cheetah can probably put you in the playoffs, right? Like, let's be honest. The guy's probably going to go over 2,000 yards. He's going to get damn close.
And he's going to have like 14 touchdowns.
Exactly. So he can single-handedly vault a 4-4 team into the playoffs. It all depends on what you want to do.
Jamie said Lamb has one of the easiest schedules moving forward. Told everyone to buy low. They all said I'm dumb. We'll see who's dumb now. Dumbasses, fuck those guys. Yeah, a lot of people say things. Especially like in Dynasty, it's like you can't wait for like, oh, I gotta see it first. Like by that time you're too late, and now you're paying the premium for that guy, right? So you've got to kind of, you've got to take chances. You've got to have a process of the way that you look at things, and
Jamie's right that Dallas does have an easy schedule coming down the stretch, but also, you never know when you know what I'm saying, when they're just not going to get him the ball. It's going to happen. We've seen it. It started the season that way, right? And Polish, you can speak to Mike McCarthy more than anybody.
Mhm.
It's gonna happen where you're just dumbfounded as to why he's not getting his playmakers ball.
So this is one of the things that I struggled with. Obviously, as we said, being a Packer fan is when it looks right, it looks really right. But when it starts to look bad, you can see that it's horrendous. And people and teams, and similarly to what we talked about with Will Levis, is that there becomes a book on you. And when you're a Mike McCarthy who's been coaching in this league for a significant amount of time, won a
He
Super
hasn't
Bowl, by the
changed.
way, right? He doesn't evolve. Right. He's not forget Josh McDaniels and forget Kyle Shanahan. He's not even John Harbaugh,
Mhm.
right? Out in Baltimore when he had a drop back stationary quarterback and then changed his
Revamped
entire
everything.
offense to accommodate Lamar Jackson. He's not even that. He is a early 2000s coach, right? Who is just stuck in his ways. That's just it. And if Aaron Rodgers got fed up of your bullshit, I'm sure Dak Prescott will. And the offense, and the proof is in the pudding. And I actually brought this up a couple of shows ago. With Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator, their touchdown percentage in the red zone was like 67, something like that. This season, and I don't have the most updated stats from this past week. I imagine it's a little bit better because they played really well against the Rams, but it was like 37, 38%.
That's
red
horrible.
zone
That's a
touchdown
horrible drop
percentage
off.
under Mike McCarthy. Now it's a much smaller sample size because Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator there for I think 3 or 4 years, and it's only been 7 or 8 games for Mike McCarthy, but that's still a good sample size, 7, 8 games to see that significant of a drop off in the red zone touchdown percentage to be like, bruh, you're still doing the same shit you did that got you ran up out of Green Bay.
And
So
then you also
that's
got to
my
think
only
about
trepidation.
also think about how many times that down in the red zone did he overrule Kellen Moore and say, no, I want to run the ball here, or no, I want to do this, and it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Things like that happen, right? Things like that happen.
The problem with Mike McCarthy is that he wants to run. He's been a 70-30 run guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean 70-30 pass guy.
Mhm.
So because that kind of people are attacking him for that, now he wants to be now he wants to be a 50-50 split. When you have Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup to a lesser degree, Jake Ferguson, Tony Pollard is a fantastic receiver out of the backfield. And I haven't seen that creative stuff that was happening with Tony Pollard. Remember all those swing passes and screens and Tony Pollard up the sideline that we saw last year breaking it out? You haven't really seen a ton of that with Mike McCarthy. So that tells you everything you need to know.
We did warn everybody about Pollard. We were one of the few people, at least, that like I wasn't fully sold on Pollard. People had him as like a top 3 guy, and I'm like, I mean, he could possibly do what he did last year and finish as like, what is that, RB7, RB8, but I don't think he's getting any higher than that. And he's like what, RB 18 or something like that right now?
Yeah, and it's because it's the lack of the explosive plays. Right.
Yeah,
So they
currently
need to
16.
get better. What is it?
RB16 in I believe
That's not what we expected. That's
RB16.
not where people drafted him. That's not where people bought him at. So, it's been a little bit disappointing there. But Crispy said new offensive scheme takes a while to learn, but Dak is ass.
Yeah, well, Dak is ass. You're right there, Chris.
Jamie, Dynasty trade. What side do you like? Olave for Christian Watson and Flowers.
See, there's a couple of different sides here, and I currently have Olave in one league and Christian Watson in another league, but this is a really tough one to answer because Olave has been super inconsistent, especially since the Derek Carr injury. Christian Watson is a non-factor this season. Zay Flowers is really good, so I think I'm still going to go Olave here, but it's tough to give up 2 assets, but Christian Watson's a non-factor right now. I can understand getting 2 for 1. I truly can, but I think I'm on the Olave side here.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm on the Olave side, not because of I just think I like Flowers a lot. But I'm starting to think Christian Watson's a bust, and I don't want to go anywhere near him.
We talked about that all off season. Was one of my biggest things was taking advantage of where Christian Watson was value wise. In the dynasty community, he was a top 20 wide receiver. Like 15 to 20 people had him. And I'm like, take advantage now and try and tier up while you have the chance, because he's one of those guys where, like, if he doesn't produce during the season, his value is going to take a significant hit. So take advantage, get out. Pickens was another one. I said same kind of thing. Is like, take advantage of the value that he's at right now and just try and tier up. This is one of those tier up moves. Like, I think is perfect. So I like this move for sure. And Olave hasn't like been producing, but he's still like third in the NFL in air yards. I mean, he's getting a ton of targets. It just hasn't been connecting. It hasn't been working out. But yeah, I like Olave for sure in this trade.
And what's really interesting is, like I said, before the first 3 games of the season, Olave was a top 10 option at the position, seeing basically 10 targets a game. Now, since the Derek Carr injury, it took a little bit of a hit, but it's going back up. But the inefficiency, right? The last 3 games, 7 receptions on 10 targets, 7 receptions on 15 targets 2 weeks ago, and 5 receptions on 9 targets. So you're basically looking at a 50% clip in terms of reception percentage. So that's not great, right? If he goes up to 70%, he's going to take off. And then the one touchdown makes me nervous. Like, he's only had one touchdown in 8 games.
Yeah, but also, but you do like the target share that he's getting. Mm-hmm. He's getting the targets. So he and we're just, Christian Watson's a piece of shit.
James, what up, James? Should I start Taysom Hill this week? My tight end one is Waller, but he's injured.
Yes. Start
At this point.
Yes.
At this point, how can you not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bogey in the building. What up, Bogey? Shout out to Bogey for the intro songs.
I love Taysom Hill.
Shout to my consumers.
In my opinion, I hate that team doesn't know adversity with the best game plan. Yeah, I mean, Crispy said he's judging Dak as a Cowboys fan. He's great for fantasy. I could feel that. Because he hasn't taken you over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't beat the Eagles and you can't beat the 49ers. I feel sorry for you, Chris.
Yeah. McCarthy's infamous for poor clock management and poor situational football.
100%.
I've lived it.
Abe's a dog. Same problem with the QB. Yeah, but that's why, in Dynasty we bet on the talent. Situations change every year, every week. I mean, as we see now with these injuries. So few touchdown passes dropped this year would have made his numbers look a little better, but Derek Carr is definitely the problem, not the receivers on the Saints. Yeah, of course, Derek Carr.
Oh, don't get Steve started on Derek Carr.
Oh man! All right, let's get into one of the big talks of lately, and we'll kind of gauge like where we have them, I guess, in the dynasty community as well. Like, where is Purdy ranked, and what do we think about Purdy lately? These last 3 games, 3 L's in a row. He hasn't had the virtue of being up and having to play from, a lead and be kind of protected in that way. Now Debo goes down, so he loses a weapon as well. And, a lot of people are now, questioning. A lot of the questions are now starting to come up. Good thing they don't have Trey Lance, because I think they purposely got rid of Trey Lance so that in case a little adversity came, there wouldn't be so much, what about Trey Lance over there? So, hasn't been great for Purdy lately. Hasn't been able to produce the way that he has been. Taking some L's, especially in the Vikings game. Had 2 costly interceptions. It was his, chance. It was his time to shine and be the hero. And he wound up couldn't doing it. But now it's 3 games in a row that he's came up short. This offense has came up short. So what do you think here, Hammer? We'll start with you about Brock Purdy these last 3 games, and then we'll get into how we think about him in Dynasty.
Yeah, I think the last 3 games are something that we all kind of wanted to see as NFL fans, right? Because everything's been so perfect, right? He has a ridiculous team on his hands, right? He's got an infinite amount of weapons. He's got an infinite amount of protection. He's very insulated. I think that's the best way to put it, right? They went out, they got a beast of a left tackle in Trent Williams. They go out and trade for Christian McCaffrey at the trade deadline virtually last season. You talk about Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, Juwan Jennings is not a slouch when he has to fill in and go out there and make plays. So he's been kind of ahead, right? He's been basically front running the whole time he's been a starter. And the interesting thing to note is that game against Cleveland, he did drive them back for the field goal, the game-winning field goal. So
it looks different if that guy hits the field goal.
And that so for me, the conversation is a lot different if Jake Moody hits that field goal and we're just talking about 2 bad losses instead of 3. Now, to be fair, though, that Cleveland game, he did not play well against an undermanned Browns team, right? You would think that
defense might be the best defense in the league.
Speaking of defenses, that San Francisco defense has been getting diced up.
And that's where I wanted to go with it right after you, because they have, and that's why they traded for Chase Young. They have not been, the book is out. They've just been teams have been doubling Bosa, chipping him. They've been running at Bosa. They've been neutralizing Bosa. And these past 3 games, they really didn't put as much pressure on the quarterback as they would have liked. That's why they go get Chase Young, to solidify that line. I just think it was bad games for Purdy. You know what I'm saying? The Vikings coughed that defense up where they're supposed to be a good defense, right? And Kirk Cousins gave it to him. And
without Justin Jefferson.
More power to him. Addison was running wild, right? And that's on the back end. So, and like you said, Purdy against probably the top defense in the league drove them down the field. I think, was it wet out that game?
Yeah, it wasn't exactly.
It wasn't good conditions. He drove them down the field. If that guy hits that field goal, it's 1-2, and it doesn't look so bad. So I just think a little bit of adversity. I still like Purdy. I like him a lot. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's good for that team. You know what I'm saying? He got some moxie about him. And I just think it's just been a bad run. And also I think that defense needs to be a lot better. He did
like
throw
him
for
as well.
360 yards yesterday.
Now, the one thing that is very concerning for me is the interceptions in crunch time. That's a bit concerning when he has to kind of put it on when he has to, step up and deliver in the moment. He's thrown some really, really bad interceptions late in these fourth quarters.
Don't forget, last year that was a question. A lot of those passes weren't getting intercepted last year. They were being dropped. This year, those guys are actually intercepting those passes. So, Brock Purdy as the system guy, right? He's throwing to spots, right? Not necessarily, exactly what's going on. So he's got to be better in those instances where it's not going to be perfect, and he can't just throw it right to that spot. Things are breaking down a little bit. It's not perfect, and he's got to adjust. So,
well, I don't think he is thrown to spots and things like that, but I don't think it's the system. You can't just say it's the system. What Brock Purdy does really good is he throws with anticipation, right? So we didn't say Tom Brady or some of these other quarterbacks were system quarterbacks. They throw with anticipation. So he's expecting a guy to be there. So your receiver can't get knocked off his route. You know what I'm saying? He can't take it outside, round it off. He can't let the DB get up in his chest because Brock Purdy's expecting him to be there. I just think San Fran hasn't played well altogether. I think missing Debo is a huge part of that, because for fantasy-wise, people are down on Debo. But football-wise, when you have 19 on the field, you have to account for him. You know what I'm saying? And he's the one guy that can probably bust up man-to-man coverage. And Ayuk runs wild because let's be quite frank, that defense is paying attention to 19, and now Ayuk gets one-on-ones when Debo is on the field. So now I just think it was bad, just bad couple of games for Purdy. And I think if they make that field goal, we look at it a lot different.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. But I think the thing with Purdy, the main thing is like they got him, or they're believing in him to take them over the top, right? You know, the system is great. We've always seen that system has worked, right? Alex Smith wasn't a fucking amazing quarterback, but his win percentage, it was just crazy. Jimmy G, same thing. He got them there, but couldn't take them over the top. And what we need to see from Purdy, what everybody wants to see, is that he can take them over the top when things aren't all peaches and cream. And he's got to step up in these situations, and he hasn't been able to do it the last 3 games. It's kind of been, you know, we just want more. We expected more from Purdy, and now he's what, 8-3, I guess his record is, right? Something like that, since he became the starter or something
Pretty
like that.
damn good.
So no, it is good, but we've seen the same thing from Jimmy G. What my thing is Purdy going to be different than Jimmy G? Is he going to be able to take you over the top? Because Jimmy G got you there, right? He just couldn't take you over the top. And that's my thing with Purdy is he just a Jimmy G 2.0, or is he actually going to be able to take you over the top? And without Debo, we needed Purdy. He got his chance against Minnesota because we fucked up the field goal, and he didn't come through. He had 2 big, costly interceptions at the end of that game.
Yeah, he did. And you're right on that. I just chalk it up to it's been so good for so long that he's made some mistakes, and now it's being magnified, right? Because he hasn't lost the game, right? Because if he was 5-4 in his starts, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like, oh, you got to understand he's still a rookie last year, right? He's still learning, an older rookie, but he's still learning. So he's going to have to work through these things. But I still think he's a good quarterback, and I would love to have him on my fantasy team because I still think he's steady. You know?
Well, we'll talk about that now. He's QB 10 on the season. In Dynasty on Keep Trade Cut, he's at QB 15. So let's talk about it. Is that an appropriate spot? So if we're doing Dynasty startups right now, I mean, where are we taking Brock Purdy? In what range? What QBs are we taking ahead of him? Or what QBs are we taking him ahead of? I guess let's just. It can't be like the top 10, right?
Yeah.
It can't be in the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar, Trevor Lawrence.
I want to get into a little bit of Justin Herbert, but keep going.
Keep going. CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud or Purdy?
I'm taking Purdy based off a situation.
You are fucking nuts.
Based off a situation.
I've got Stroud as a top 10. He's like
he's good.
6 to 12, 6
He's
to 10 QB for me right now.
But we haven't seen Stroud. Hit the adversity either. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't care. We're talking Dynasty quarterback.
Yeah.
Value startup. There's no way. All right, so let's take Stroud out of it for a second. Trevor Lawrence.
No, I'll take Trevor.
Yeah, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence.
Tua.
I'm taking Tua.
Taking Tua.
Anthony Richardson.
I'm taking A-Rich for the upside. The rushing upside.
I'm taking Brock Purdy. I think he'll be available more than A-Rich.
Oh my goodness.
I'm taking A-Rich.
I'm taking A-Rich just on value upside.
That's fine.
Straight value. All right, so we got CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson that you guys are thinking about. I'm still nowhere near Brock. I'm not near Brock Purdy at the moment. Kyler Murray. We're talking about startup, next
you gotta
year.
I don't know. I might take Purdy. I don't know.
Oh my fucking God.
I don't know.
You
gotta
guys
understand.
No.
But you gotta understand.
Right now. There's no fucking.
You gotta understand. You have to understand. Bro, what Kyler does.
CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson. You guys are telling me that you want Brock Purdy.
You're probably right.
A startup superflex draft.
You are probably right on CJ.
If
Stroud. You are probably.
I would take Stroud. I would take Stroud.
I
wanted Stroud over Bryce Young.
Yeah, I would take Stroud. But with Kyler Murray, bro.
Kyler Murray's been a top 10 QB every season.
Yeah, but he didn't have an ACL. He didn't tear his knee up. And what Kyler, no, it's because what Kyler does is Kyler runs around, he plays Russell Wilson football. And once Russell Wilson couldn't do that anymore,
Kyler Murray,
look
can
what he
Kyler Murray
is.
be a top 5 QB?
He could.
Can he finish a full fantasy season and be a top 5 QB?
He could.
Okay. Does Brock Purdy have a chance to be a top 5 QB in one whole fantasy season?
Where is he right now?
Can he finish top 5? Can he finish top 5? Okay, so we're establishing that Kyler Murray is over Brock Purdy, a guy who's been a top 10 QB for numerous seasons.
And Brock is what? Top 10 right now.
Oh, he's the 10th quarterback at the moment of this season. But we're talking about dynasty for the future, just in general.
It's the rushing, but I don't like Kyler for the future. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Let's
bad
say...
knees, and he can't read defenses. Get Kyler the fuck out of here. All he does is play Xbox.
Oh, we're talking fantasy. I don't like him as an actual NFL quarterback, but for fantasy. All right. Justin Fields. And obviously we don't know what's going to happen with Justin Fields, but he'll get a shot somewhere, whether it's on the Bears or not. Fields or Purdy.
The rushing in fantasy, the rushing puts him, or just automatically it puts him over Purdy. But I'm taking Purdy. He's a better quarterback. He's gonna consistently put up the better numbers. Consistently.
So scared of Fields, I guess, but
when you're doing these, right? And you're saying guys like Anthony Richardson, which, listen, the upside is definitely there, right?
I like A-Rich.
Let me finish. When you're talking about this upside, right? When a guy is hurt, does he have upside?
Yes, none.
We're not talking about now. Would you take this guy? I'm talking about in the startup draft. Let's just say
everything was equal.
I'm still taking A-Rich just on value alone because I'm fucking selling for Purdy plus. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
I'm taking A-Rich, yeah, but I don't know. I don't like Kyler. I mean, you're selling them. But
Super flex, right? Quarterback's king. I mean,
yeah, but you're talking about selling them. You know, I'm talking about drafting my team to play my team. I don't know. Kyler.
Fields, Hammer. You taking Fields or Purdy?
Purdy. I'm done with
He's
Fields.
more consistent.
Jared Goff.
Yeah, I'm taking Goff here. Yeah, I'm taking Goff. Goff's been my guy for a little while.
Dak Prescott.
Problem with Dak is he just goes off the rails. He has the higher upside, but he goes off the rails. I'll still take Dak.
Okay.
Fuck the Cowboys. I'm taking Purdy.
Deshaun Watson.
He hasn't looked good since he's been back.
Will we ever see the real Deshaun Watson?
Is he going to play? Who knows? He's not getting a massages, bro. His shoulder's all messed up. He needs mailing in there to, But I don't know. Deshaun's an enigma. Purdy's safe. I'm taking Purdy. He hasn't been good. Deshaun hasn't been good.
And I think see, the problem is now Deshaun's value before the season started was really high. It is bottoming out really quick.
Yeah, it is.
I feel better with Purdy on my team than Deshaun
Yeah,
Watson
me too.
I know you're living on the upside, but
Steve's living on the upside because
it's not about living on the upside. It's that for me. All right, let me I'll ask one more, and then I'll talk about my stance on it. Bryce Young, taking Bryce Young, or are you taking Brock Purdy next year?
I think they're the same dude.
Bryce Young definitely has more value, and I think we've seen some flashes now. I truly hope Carolina gets what they say they want, which is another receiver, because Adam Thielen can't keep up this pace.
No, we can't.
So I'll take Bryce Young because I do think that he has a little more upside, consistent upside than than Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy. Listen, Brock Purdy is good, man. He's a fringe. He's a high end QB2. Like that's what he is. I think he's between 12 and 15.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because he has Christian McCaffrey, I think because he has Christian McCaffrey, he can scratch that 10 because he has CMC back there, right? And CMC can do everything, right? CMC can take a 5-yard wheel route and go to the house, and that's going to make Brock Purdy's stats more inflated than what they normally would be.
You can't hold it against them.
No. I'm not holding it against him. I'm saying that's what could elevate him into that top 10 because he doesn't really have to run, right? His extension of his run is dumping it down to McCaffrey and let McCaffrey do all the work. That adds value to Brock Purdy, right? Debo, same thing, right? That adds to Purdy's value because he's getting all those yards, he's getting those touchdowns on these short breakaway passes that his guys are making the plays. So his playmakers vault him higher than some of these other guys because he has all those playmakers. So let's not act like Brock Purdy can't be just as good as some of these other guys because the playmakers that he has around him at his disposal keeps his value where it's at. And I think it's in that 12 to 15 range solidly with 10 upside.
Yeah, I'm not sure about I don't know what to make of Bryce just yet.
Yeah, right? And neither am I because they need another year or two to get.
Yeah, like he hasn't. Steve, you were right on Stroud. Now that I think, I'm
better lately.
Than Bryce Young.
Bryce looks better. Bryce looks better. Bryce looks a lot better lately. And we could make a whole episode on Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. But we've talked about it a few times where we thought that Bryce was walking into the better situation, but actually CJ was. And the Texans are actually not as bad as we thought, and they have some playmakers and some guys that can make plays. But Bryce kind of just has Thielen right now. But we'll get into Bryce Young. We can have.
For me, that's like I don't know where to go right there because I'm not too sure about Bryce. But you were right on Stroud, but I don't know. There's just for me right now after the knee injury and with Kyler and things like that, I feel like Purdy's the safer bet. Plus his situations, like Polish said, his situation is his team is always going to keep his value up and his stats and his points. And Kyler's coming back and he's coming back into a bad situation, dude. On a bum knee.
I don't even that's the thing. It doesn't even matter. Like I've got Purdy pretty much right there in that 15, 16-ish range. Yeah. Like I'm not like I'm taking CJ, I'm taking Trevor, Tua, Anthony Richardson, Kyler. I'm taking Bryce Young over him. I'm taking Jared Goff. Fields, I don't know. I probably won't. I don't know. Fields is a close one. I'll probably still take Fields over him. Dak, I'm taking probably over Purdy still, but that's like really close. And that's kind of, I'm taking Deshaun over him. So I've got him kind of in that range, kind of in the same range as Keep Trade Cuts. Got him in like that 15, 16-ish kind of range right there.
I think that's
I'm just taking the other guys ahead of him. There's no way I'm not taking Kyler over him. Kyler's been a top 10 QB, for numerous seasons. Like Brock is going to be good. He's going to give you a good floor, but he doesn't have the upside that some of these other guys have. Like that's why I asked, like, can Kyler Murray finish top 5? Brock Purdy doesn't have the ability to finish top 5, I don't believe. So for me, that's why, of course, I've got to have Kyler. I've got to have Kyler over because I've seen it before. Whether the team's good or not doesn't matter. Kyler's still gonna,
but it does matter if Kyler is healthy. Tell me this. If Kyler
hasn't been a quarterback that's always been injured,
but if Kyler cannot run anymore, can he make top 5? There's no fucking way. If he's not as fast as he used to be, Steve, can he make top 5?
Well, I'm not saying he's going to make top 5 if he comes back this year, but obviously next year going into the season where he's more healthy, of course I think he can finish top 5, and that's why I'll always have him. I'll have if him he's not over. I want to see a full season of Brock Purdy. Where is he going to finish? To me, he'll probably finish in like the 10 to 15-ish range as a QB, which is like Hammer said, he's like a high-end QB too. That's kind of where he is. So he's in kind of that 12-ish to 15-ish range,
but
I guess,
if
Dynasty.
he
But
goes
I
off,
think you guys are nuts if you think that it's a conversation between CJ Stroud and Purdy, or Kyler and
I thought
Purdy,
about it.
or A-Rich and Purdy. Like, I don't think that's even a conversation.
Not A-Rich. Not A-Rich. And I thought about CJ Stroud. You're right. You're right on CJ Stroud. But Kyler, no. There's a conversation. I don't think Kyler's that good.
See,
Kyler.
So I mean, obviously, listen, are you talking about, I think especially for Steve, he views it in the lens of value, right?
Mm-hmm.
He views it in the lens of value, right? So what is the value relative to whatever guy we're talking about? So relative to Purdy, are you going to get more for Kyler? Sure. Right.
What could Kyler be as well? That's the thing. If he is or does finish a top 5, now I've got that value in that asset where Purdy's just kind of is going to be what he is. You know what I mean?
Or what if Kyler tears up his knee again? Then
if Kyler cannot
tears up his knee, I mean, we could do that all day.
But Brock Purdy is not that quarterback.
Who's more likely?
Either was Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins. That didn't stop that from happening. I mean,
but when they come back, they're still going to be Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. That's what I'm saying. If Kyler Murray cannot run, or he's not fast enough, or he does not have the speed that he used to have, he does not have the height to stand in the pocket. He does not read defenses well. His whole game is predicated on his legs. And if he's not fast or does not have the mobility that he once has, Kyler Murray is not Kyler Murray, and he can't finish.
He's not Lamar or field status like 1,000 yards rushing.
No, but hold on.
400, 500. I mean,
hold on.
You're talking about that's like Mahomes status right now.
I know.
I'm talking about Russell Wilson.
Right, running around, extending plays, doing the backyard
That's
shit.
fine. He's the quarterback. He'll get back from the injury. I mean,
Russell Wilson cannot run around anymore. He cannot extend plays anymore. That's why we're saying
seen him do that. I'm seeing him do it now and lately, where he's been a lot better.
But
obviously he can't do it to the same extent
drop-off?
that he could before. But
how bad was the drop off? What was we saying about Russell Wilson last year?
But Russell Wilson is also, how old? Kyler Murray is a 26-year-old quarterback
that just tore his knee.
Major injury.
Yeah, okay, a major injury, but he is a quarterback, right?
And also,
relies on. All right, I'm done.
Let's not forget this as well.
I don't think it's as bad as a running back, is all I'm saying.
No, but I think
is he still going to be able to extend play? Yeah, we just saw Joe Burrow go through the injury. Joe Burrow looks fucking mighty fine, moving around in the damn pocket.
But Joe Burrow doesn't.
There is something to be said about a guy like Kyler Murray. Even I noticed, because I think I had him on one of my fantasy teams a couple of years ago, right? And when he's running around doing the Mighty Mouse shit, he gets those muscular injuries in his lower half, that limit. And when he gets those injuries, he's very
not
limited.
The same quarterback.
He's very limited.
He's played 16, 14, and 11 games. I mean, he's not crazily injured.
I'm not saying
he's
that.
Played through the injuries.
He's finished QB6, QB3, QB10, and QB19 in a game. He played 11 games. Finished QB10 and playing 14 games. Kyler is a beautiful buy low, and that even window is
I don't think we disagree
now that he's almost back.
Oh,
so,
no, we don't.
I've been buying Kyler for 2 years now, at the low, and now is finally, he's finally able to return.
We don't disagree on that. I'm just saying, I don't.
I mean, I get it. I it's just hard for me to, wrap my head around. I mean, I get the points. They're definitely valid points, but I don't think the QB position is more like the RB position, where I think he's fine to come back, because even because we see Joe Burrow, he's not crazy running the football guy, or I mean even Patrick Mahomes. I mean, and we saw Joe Burrow have this injury, so I don't think it's as crazy bad as.
but I guess,
as we all think at least.
But the point is when that sort of injury happens, how bad did Joe Burrow look? He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. And Kyler relies on that.
Of time, yeah. And now look at
it. But Kyler relies on that sort of style of play more than Joe Burrow in that sense. And I think the lens I look at it as, especially with these running athletic quarterbacks, and listen, that's basically the new wave of the NFL, is to have that athletic quarterback that could run around and make those plays. I totally agree, and I understand. Those guys are going to be more susceptible to injury. Justin Fields, prime example, right? Sure. Daniel Jones, prime example. Anthony Richardson, prime example. Now, Josh Allen is just a cyborg. I don't know what that guy's made.
He's the Winter Soldier. It doesn't matter.
Josh Allen's the outlier, right? How quickly did Cam Newton star set?
Yeah,
pretty damn quick, right? Yeah. So I don't mind. Like, I have Jalen Hurts on my. Jalen Hurts was hurt last year in the playoffs for you, right? Missed some of those playoff games, right? So these running quarterbacks are very risky, and I would say half of the league has an athletic, quote unquote, quarterback. But for Kyler Murray specifically, I think because he relies on his legs to do that more often than not,
and he's so miniature,
he's more susceptible. Now, listen, Kyler has top 5 upside. I think we all would agree on that. Like, there's no argument on that. What is his situation also too? Like, is in flux, and we don't know where he's going to be wherever he lands. Listen, if he stays in Arizona right now, the team's not very good. So I think I still need to see when he comes back what he looks like. How Deshaun Watson looks terrible. Like, he looks absolute like dog water with the compliment when he had Nick Chubb. Now, he had some solid games before he got hurt, but I don't know.
Before the season, if you tell me Deshaun Watson or Purdy, I'm taking Deshaun. Right now, I'm taking Purdy.
Well, when we're talking about Dynasty, which is why, of course, we're talking about Superflex, which is why I brought up the top 5. We know the difference, and Hammer, we did. I'm sure a lot of people hopefully saw the Warp episode we did. The difference that a top 5 QB can make compared to a top 12 to 24 QB makes in Superflex, as far as the wins over replacement player, and that's a big thing. Of course, depending on your league scoring and everything, all those things matter. But we see how much of a difference that is. So to have a guy like Kyler that can give you that kind of advantage week in and week out is huge. Now, of course, he's a little bit more risky. Now, of course, do you want to have a backup QB that can fill in? God forbid there's injuries that happen. Yeah, maybe you're more inclined to carry a more decent or better backup QB, but I think for me, I'm definitely taking Kyler. So in next year's subscriber league, y'all could just leave Kyler to me, I guess, and we'll be all right.
Have them.
All right. So that, I guess that pretty much does it for tonight, as far as everything that we wanted to kind of talk about dynasty wise and kind of where we kind of value these guys. But I guess while we're on Purdy, what are you paying for Brock Purdy? If you need a quarterback and Purdy's out there, he's available. Somebody put him on the trade block, which actually I saw in 2 of my leagues after these last 3 games. What are you guys paying for Purdy?
You're looking at a back end 1 plus something for that sort of stability at quarterback, a back end 1 plus. That's the starting point.
I had just did a little dynasty question thing, and somebody asked, like, what are we paying for Brock Purdy? And the price is going to start at pretty much that late first, and it's going to be plus something. So what is that plus going to be? I guess would be the main thing. And are you guys okay with paying that price? Or at that point, if it's a first plus, do we feel like we want to maybe go out and just spend more and get a higher upside QB?
Well, if there's a higher upside QB out there that to be had, go get them, pay more for it. You know what I'm saying? But if you can't get, I'm totally fine paying, Purdy a back end 1 plus, 1 and a 3.
All right, so I got Purdy. Player. I want the first and George Pickens.
A first and George Pickens for Purdy.
Yep.
So for me, really quick before I kind of give my what I would do, this really would depend. And Steve, you brought this up, which is I think the perfect way to view it in that lens. If I have one of those top 5 guys, maybe I'm more inclined to not have to spend that first. Like if I have an Allen's, a Mahomes, a Burrow, a Hurts, I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind not having to spend that first, plus on a Brock Purdy, and maybe trying to get, like you said, as we said early in the show, go after the Gardner Minshew right now and not have to pay that first plus. You know what I mean? Like go after one of those guys.
Yeah.
So my qualifying statement to that would be, before I would pay that first plus, who's my QB1? Is it Mahomes, Hurts, Allen, Burrow? Like if I have one of those guys, I can afford to have Minshew as my second quarterback, at least for this season.
But for Purdy, I think Purdy's going to be a lot better than his last couple of games. And even he had a bad game. He still put up 25 points, right? 20 points this past week. So he's giving you a consistent baseline and a consistent floor of, 20 points, 25 points. And just because of his situation, that can go up. You know what I'm saying? Because he has good players around him. So I have no problem. I would give a back end first.
And
George Pickens, yes. For a quarterback and super flex, yeah, I would do that, no problem. For Purdy.
A top 15 quarterback, top 12, really?
Top 12.
Kind of think about it.
Okay.
I would definitely
how high we going? I want DK Metcalf in the first.
Bye-bye, DK.
Get out. Thank you. Get out.
Oh, okay.
Get out.
I want Brandon Ayuk in the first.
I'm not trading Ayuk if I'm trying to go get Purdy. I'm not going to do that.
We're almost in this range of almost 2 firsts. Devonta Smith and the first.
No.
I want a little bit more than Purdy. I want a little more upside.
Yeah,
than Purdy.
you got to give me a little bit more.
Okay. So you said DK can go. How about T. Higgins in the first?
That's hard to do.
That's spicy.
T. Higgins in the second, maybe. T. Higgins in the third. Maybe T. Higgins straight up.
That's what.
Now T. Higgins hasn't been. The problem with T. Higgins is T. Higgins' value is not that great right now because he hasn't been playing that well.
Which is awesome buy low at the moment. Yes.
Yeah.
So
that it would be hard for me to come off T. Higgins in the first.
Maybe
DK Metcalf.
DK, you do DK in the first though?
Yeah, I would. How about DK?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a little too much for me, but how about Michael Pittman?
Michael Pittman's been balling, dude.
He has been balling.
In a situation I didn't think he was going to do that great in.
No, but I'd probably give up Michael Pittman too. I'm not going to let Michael Pittman stop me from getting a quarterback.
And how about DJ Moore?
I think with the Justin,
he had that one big game. Bye-bye, DJ Moore.
DJ Moore or T. Higgins?
Huh?
DJ Moore or T. Higgins?
T. Higgins.
Yeah, I like T. Higgins better.
I like T
over the long ball.
I like T over DJ Moore.
I just made that trade.
Yeah, you got T? Yeah, you did, you fuck. I saw that.
I was like, yeah, let me get T. Higgins while I can right now.
Well, he had Justin Fields, so he wants to.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. But yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody coming out. Throw any last second questions y'all got in the chat. We'll give y'all another minute or two. But I think we kind of went over everything we pretty much wanted to go over tonight for Dynasty. But Wendell says Will Levis legit. We don't know yet.
We're gonna find out Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna see.
We definitely gonna see. I think they play him the whole game. This game. I don't think they fuck around with Malik.
They better.
Yeah,
what's good for them.
Stafford, Fields, and Murray after this week. Pick 2, please and thanks.
I'm not starting Murray until he shows me something.
Well, your options might not be that great.
Yeah, and you might have to.
I think in this situation,
yeah, because if Stafford doesn't play, or if they both have the same injury, so Stafford might be out a couple of weeks. Field might be coming back, right? Just because he's been out a few weeks, so you might have to play Murray.
I think those situations are, like you said, very, very similar. So you kind of have to monitor it.
Yeah, but I guess if you want to go with the rushing upside, you go Fields and Murray. Honestly, I don't think Kyler's going to be running around much. I think they're going to take it slow with him.
He might have
to. How do you sit Stafford though, right?
But is he going to take it slow when he goes out there?
Exactly. But how do you? Stafford's been pretty good. Fucking throwing the ball all over the lot.
What's actually weird about Stafford is he's racking up a bunch of yards, but the touchdowns haven't really been there.
No tutties.
Tutties tutties haven't happened. So give me Fields and Murray. Give me that upside. Give me the upside, baby, for sure. Marty said peace. All right, boys. We're about to get up out of here. Any last second words that y'all got?
Yeah, I got one.
Birdman, what up, Birdman? Nah, I didn't hit that food spot, Birdman. But yeah, go ahead, guys. My bad.
Yeah, Packers suck.
Yeah, they do. We know that already.
Yeah, they do. The Giants aren't bad.
So do the Giants.
Yeah, they are. They're really bad. But it felt good to be back. It felt good to be back.
Well, yeah, back in the building.
Yeah, felt good to be back. I'll be back again.
All right.
Another Quello. She love me again.
I'm ready. Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Show me the money.
Oh, you didn't know?
Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling.
Put my shoes on, you wouldn't last a mile. Summertime, wintertime, I'm on the grind. Yeah, I got the ring, I'm the champ, I'm the Judy of the lamb.
This is the gift I was given, so I just live by my hustle.
Pocket, it don't make sense, but don't make a profit. So I hustle, ladies and homies. Make money, money.